This is a response to Bull Sessions' pitch video for ReBoot Season 5. I watched his video late last year, and it got me really excited, because it's the closest thing we've had to anything ReBoot Season 5 in a long while. I thought I would do my own Season 5 pitch, and I encourage anyone else with ideas to do the same. I should say that I'm just doing this for fun. Are my ideas great? I certainly don't think so, but I figure that if we get enough people pitching ideas, Mainframe Entertainment will take note. I'm looking forward to hearing your ideas as well. Let me start off by saying that I really like Bull Sessions' ideas for the 5th season. I think that a proper reboot of the show would have to update its universe to reflect the current state of affairs of information and technology. But I'm going to take a slightly different approach to my pitch. While Bull Sessions' pitch revolved around the idea of a serious upgrading of ReBoot for the modern age, I'm going to pitch Season 5 as if we were still in the year 2003. Here's what I think could have been the first few episodes or so.
Prepare yourselves for the hunt.
One of the reasons why I personally felt okay with the Season 4 cliffhanger is because we had already seen Megabyte and what he was capable of. Don't get me wrong, it was really exciting to see him come back and battle Bob in one more glorious and well-earned showdown. But I felt like Megabyte had had his arc, and we'd seen his poetic defeat. However, there are two important changes in Megabyte that we see at the end of Season 4. One, his Trojan Horse viral powers, and two, his dedication to revenge. This is why Megabyte isn't going to rehash the whole Megaframe routine. This Megabyte isn't interested in taking over the system or even the net. He is purely focused on revenge. I only mention this because it seems like something that could happen if the wrong people were chosen to write Season 5. We don't need another Megaframe. We need to see Megabyte do something new.
This doesn't make sense.
While Megabyte is after revenge, he doesn't want to just delete everyone. Rather, Megabyte wants to relish his revenge and slowly torture the main cast. We saw in Season 4 how long he pretended to be Bob, and when asked why he faked for so long, he simply replied,
It amused me.
he likes using his new Trojan horse powers to manipulate people. For Megabyte, revenge is going to be a slow burn, something he relishes to the very end. We left our heroes scattered and alone throughout the principal office at the end of Season 4. Bob and Matrix are together, while Mouse is with Andrea. Finally, Dot is stuck with Hack and Slash. Megabyte has effectively divided his enemies, but he won't try to conquer them. Not yet. He will probably rattle them first, using some of the many internal security devices we saw the principal office equipped with in the episode Infected. Megabyte will use these devices to frighten and stress our heroes, knowing that they are more than equipped to deal with small obstacles like these. Bob will use his upgraded glitch, Matrix his gun. Mouse and Andrea will use their brawn. Dot will rescue Hack and Slash by planning and finding clever ways out of tricky situations. In fact, Bob and Dot have the advantage here because they've been stuck in the principal office before under very similar circumstances. Dot will manage to find her way to the armory with Hack and Slash. Here, she will be able to give the two robots shield and weapon upgrades. By luck, she will also come across a mini prototype Medusa bug that Hugh and his team had been working on. This one is programmed only to infect specific targets.
I think I have an idea.
After losing their fisticuffs at the end of Season 3, Megabyte will make Matrix his prime target. Megabyte wants to torture Matrix the most and will use the entire Matrix family to do so. He already has little Enzo in captivity, as well as Wellman Matrix, and has some scientific experiments he wants to perform on them with the help of Herr Doctor. Megabyte will use his new code copying abilities to study what remains of Wellman Matrix's code.
Ah, there you are, Father.
While our heroes are trapped within the principal office, the city of Mainframe is left ungoverned, and possibly ignored completely by the vengeful Megabyte. This leaves an interesting window open plot-wise. While most of our characters are trapped, the rest of the city and its inhabitants are free to act. Of course, this includes the group of neo-viral binomes that Megabyte created at the end of Season 4. But key characters like Ray Tracer, the Software Pirates, and Turbo are also at large on the net. Although it isn't clear if Megabyte successfully infected Fong at the end of Season 4, I'm going to assume that he can now infect sprites. With this new power, he will be in pursuit of Dot first. Dot was always able to outsmart Megabyte, and will continue to do so for a time. However, with her knowledge of Mainframe and the principal office, he needs her to help him complete his experiments. At the very least, having her infected will keep her out of the way. Fortunately for Megabyte, Hack and Slash are terrified of his return. They have reason to seek forgiveness from their former master and turn on Dot. Because she has come to trust them, they will be able to use the element of surprise to incapacitate her and bring her to the war room to present to a very satisfied Megabyte.
Ah, the blushing bride.
Megabyte chortles as they bring her in. Hack and Slash plead for forgiveness, claiming to have been reprogrammed by Fong to do his bidding. But wait, Dot hasn't been incapacitated at all. It turns out it was a plan of hers to get into the war room to save Enzo and Wellman. She will signal Hack and Slash to use all their new weapons on Megabyte, while she uses the Medusa bug to infect and turn Megabyte to stone. It's a play that is too quick for Megabyte to anticipate, and he is taken out. But not for long. Dot uses one of the war room's secret exits to make an escape with Enzo and Wellman, breaking the glass dome on his infected robotic suit so the Null can escape. But while Megabyte is still frozen, an infected Fong will stop Dot. Enzo and Wellman will get away, but Dot is trapped. Megabyte overcomes the Medusa's infection, trashes Hack and Slash, for good this time, and then approaches Dot. He intimidates and teases her, saying that while he was trapped in the web, he spent a lot of time thinking up the most appropriate way to get back at her. Dot's biggest weakness is her guilt. Guilt over losing her father, guilt over losing the PIDs, guilt over losing Bob, guilt over losing her brother. Dot is her own worst enemy when she feels she's failed. So now Megabyte is going to infect her and force her to use her intellect for his evil plans. He taunts her, saying that she will be lucid and remember everything, but will be powerless to control herself as she helps him pick off her friends one by one. And when that's over, Megabyte promises not to delete her. He will release her from his control and let her do it herself. Mouse is trapped in a box, unable to hack her way out. She has never felt more out of control. Andrea remains behind her, keeping watch, but suddenly she can hear something stealthily approaching. She tries to warn Mouse, but Mouse is too focused on trying to hack her way out of the dead end.
Nothing!
She is desperate after hours of failure, but Andrea is concerned. She is aware of the sound, yet unable to locate its origin. And then she realizes it's a frantic green Null, followed by little Enzo. Andrea is relieved to see him, and he embraces her. He fills her in on what happened in the war room, but he is cut off when the Wellman Null begins to screech. Suddenly, there's a flash of light, and Mouse turns around to see Andrea passed out with the Wellman null running circles, frantic beside her. Little Enzo runs up to them from down the corridor, obviously injured and reeling. Between heavy breathing, he manages to say, "They have Dot, and Megabyte looks like me!" Megabyte, always eager for an audience, announces over the comm that Dot has been infected. And so Bob and Matrix decide it's time to go on the offensive. That's when Andrea suddenly appears, staggering toward them. Matrix is overjoyed and runs to support her. Bob asks what's wrong. She explains that something is hurting her sensitive ears. Matrix suggests Megabyte is playing something over the comm to try to weaken Andrea. But just as he finishes this thought, he is hit from behind. Andrea is holding gun. Bob raises his arm to use Glitch, but Andrea is quick and shoots Glitch out of Bob's reach. Andrea throws an incapacitated Matrix over her shoulder and keeps gun trained on his head. Bob exclaims, "Megabyte, I should have known it was you." Megabyte reveals his true form.
No, you were never the brains of the opposition, were you?
Megabyte turns to a hidden passage that suddenly appears before him. Bob is surprised. "Wait, you're just leaving?" Megabyte looks at him.
Goodness, Bob, you have an ego as thick as your head. You know, you're the one sprite here that I could not care less about.
I know this sounds odd, but hear me out. What has Bob done to Megabyte since Season 2 to really piss him off? Bob wasn't around when Megabyte took over. He wasn't even around during Matrix's showdown with the virus. What anger or hatred Megabyte felt toward Bob has already been dealt with. Specifically, when Megabyte shot Bob into the web. In this way, Megabyte has already had his revenge on Bob. From Megabyte's standpoint, he's won.
You won your battles, but I won the war, Bob.
He gloats.
You are a pathetic excuse for a protector of this system. To think I ever gave you any thought at all. You are weak and entirely insignificant. You will fail to stop me, as you always have.
Megabyte's disinterest in Bob is probably the best way to attack him. Bob loves being the hero and saving the day. Leaving Bob helpless and neutered is a kick in the gut. Megabyte brings Matrix back to the war room where Herr Doktor is waiting with a machine that looks suspiciously like Glitch.
Fong,
Megabyte says.
would you be so kind as to get me on the comm?
Megabyte fastens Matrix to the device and begins narrating to the city, and to our heroes still trapped in the principal office.
You know, I've learned a great deal about the lot of you. My time lost on the web gave me great time to ponder the mysteries of Bob's Guardian Code. I have learned its intricacies and how to bend it to my will. And now that I have sampled your code as well, I have found some rather interesting curiosities. Andrea, that is what they call you, isn't it? You will be the next rat in my experiment. But first, the grand opening. Boy, I know you're listening.
Megabyte says to little Enzo.
No, it is your code that allows my experiment to be a success.
Herr Doktor throws a switch. There is a blinding flash of light, and Matrix cries out in pain. Bob, Enzo, Mouse, Nibbles, and Andrea especially watch in horror as the light fails to reveal that Matrix has been decompiled into little Enzo.
No!
He screams. As Megabyte grins, we turn to the little Enzo copy. The system, realizing there are now two Enzos, deletes the copy, so only Enzo remains in Megabyte's clutches. Megabyte laughs, and we fade to black. And so ends the first arc of Season 5. Going over my ideas for Season 5 now, I understand how difficult it could be to get a reboot right, and how important it is to get as many of the original staff back to put Season 5 together. As much time and thought I put into what I think could happen, the first 4 seasons of Reboot have a very unique and magical quality to them that will be hard for a different group of creators to capture. But what are your thoughts? How would you continue the series? What kind of revenge do you think Megabyte seeks? How do you think he could be defeated? The creators of the show are obviously quite intelligent, and I'm sure anything we think up won't be what the actual plan was. But let's have some fun anyway. As I said, I would love to see more people putting their ideas up on YouTube and elsewhere. Maybe we can get this Season 5 ball rolling. Before I sign off, I just want to say a big thanks to Bull Session for inspiring me to do this video. Thanks also to GlitchBob and the Facebook group, the Incoming Game podcast, Gavin Blair, and everyone else who makes Reboot alphanumeric. You've all helped me fall in love with the show all over again. One more thing, as this is the 25th anniversary of Reboot, I'm going to be creating a lot of content to celebrate. Stay tuned for more, and stay frosty.